is that but what we had actually we've had sugar protectionism in the United States since the 1930s. FDR started it during the Great Depression, protect sugar farms. Then there was an international sugar agreement, believe it or not. It was like the UN of sugar.
No, no, you're not coming up here.
A production suppression agreement where countries around the world agreed to hold down the amount of sugar supplies so the prices would stay high. That collapsed. Global sugar prices started to collapse. Ronald Reagan put quotas on sugar so that you could only import so much sugar. So we've had this system of high sugar prices for a long time. But what was it that made in the early 1980s? So it wasn't just the invention of corn syrup. It wasn't the presence of sugar quotas and tariffs, because those have been there the whole time. What was it that happened? It was actually the collapse of corn prices. So it really, and that was because of government subsidies, the government, and also the embargo of the Soviet Union. I know that sounds really crazy, but yes, the Nixon administration changed corn policy from what had been under FDR, which was paying farmers not to grow corn, to telling farmers to grow as much corn as they want, but we would then give them extra money when the price collapsed. Well, they grew up a lot of corn. The reason why they did that, by the way, was because they wanted to sell corn to the Soviet Union because we had detente and we wanted to be friends with them. Soviet Union invaded Afghanistan. We're not selling corn to the Soviet Union. The price of corn collapses. Remember, we had Farm Aid, Willie Nelson, John Cougar Mellencamp, like the farms were going broke, high interest rates. Corn syrup then becomes much more practical because the price of corn has collapsed. The government is subsidizing corn. And that's what drove it, was actually the corn subsidies, not the sugar protection. Sugar protectionism was probably a necessary element to it, but it had been around forever. It was the corn subsidies that triggered corn syrup.
Okay, so just real quick, I did not get John any warning that I was going to ask him about this at all. So that's just top of it. That's just like ChatGPT for sugar subsidies. I had no idea. So it's a weird comment, and I know you're not a dietitian, and we don't need to talk about is sugar even that much better than high fructose corn syrup? Like maybe we shouldn't have it. I was talking to the food babe yesterday, Bonnie Murray, and she was talking about how great it is that all these companies are not using food dyes anymore in their food, and she was going through this whole list of all the companies and all the products, and she said even Twinkies decided to take the food coloring out of their food, their products, and it's like that's not cool. Anyway, point is,
Twinkies health food.
That's I think the food ticket went 40. But that's still a big deal that that Coke would make this big change like that. That's got to be something noteworthy, right?
Yeah, I think it is. And I'm very curious about the conversations that went on about this.
Hey, stay down.
Anything for the price of sugar? Like perhaps Donald Trump said that we're going to figure out a way to make sugar cheaper, right? Because it really was a largely economic decision to move to just corn syrup. So why, what's going on with Coke? It also, frankly, there's some evidence that people actually like Americans in particular who grew up on the corn syrup version might actually prefer that. That you actually, people say, oh no, the sugar one is better. But when you buy people call it Mexican Coke because a lot of it is actually imported from Mexico when you get like the little bottles that are made with sugar. But there's evidence that it may just be people prefer the glass bottles, right?
Okay.
That may actually be healthier too, right? Like the fructose corn syrup in a plastic bottle may not be that great for you, whereas but it just feels cooler, frankly, to have.
Yeah. Oh wow, bring back the glass. Wow, people have been wanting the sugar, but they really actually want the glass. Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, let's go to the Fed now. Do you think it's true that President Trump, as the New York Times reported, has a letter that he drafted firing the chairman of the Fed, and he waved it in front of about a dozen Republicans in the Oval Office, asking them if he should in fact send this letter out to fire Powell?
So President Trump doesn't draft letters, so he didn't draft it. But I'm sure he asked legal counsel
down. Get your paw down.
And
you can do that, I'm going to put the window up.
This is what the Office of Legal Counsel does. The president wants to do something, and they go through, and they usually give two kinds of answers. One, they give the answer that probably will never be seen by anybody because it's covered by executive privilege, that says, here's what we really think the story is. Like, could would the courts side with you if you had people? That's what they, and then another letter they will produce is, okay, but if you decide to go ahead with this, what are our best arguments for this, right? So that's the one he was waving in front of people. The best arguments for why he can fire Powell. I do know that at least in the first Trump administration, the Office of Legal Counsel told him not to do that. His chances of succeeding in the courts trying to remove Powell were very low. And that's, and the Supreme Court recently communicated that as well. Look, Trump has actually won a zillion cases that say he can remove people. He can fire half of the Department of Education. One court tried to stop him, the Supreme Court said, no, go ahead. He can remove the heads of almost every executive, of every executive agency, whether it's, a single head, or you can get rid of it. He runs the executive branch. But in a recent decision where the court talks about this power of the president to remove people, they singled out the Federal Reserve and said, but that is different. So that's got to give them.
Wow. Sorry, the Supreme Court singled that out?
Yes. They said, while President Trump can remove the heads of almost every agency, and what made this so interesting was that the Federal Reserve was not even involved in this case.
Yes.
The court just wanted to make it clear that they were not. Now, they didn't say outright, president can't remove the head, but they did go out of their way, completely unnecessarily, to say, our decision here does not apply to the Supreme Court.
Here it is. It's the Federal Reserve. It says, so the words here, is it a uniquely structured quasi-private entity?
Yes, that is correct. And so they were saying, look, this is very different from all the other agencies. I would say it's something the court didn't say, but I was the president of the Federalist Society at the University of Pennsylvania when I was a law student. I am steeped in, conservative legal interpretation. I actually would say that the one reason that the president cannot remove the head of the Federal Reserve is that monetary policy is assigned by the Constitution not to the executive branch, but to Congress. So this is actually, in some ways, unlike all the other executive branches of the executive agencies, which are carrying out executive functions, arguably the Federal Reserve is carrying out a legislative function, which is to assign the value of debt, to issue currency, all of that sort of thing is by the Constitution part of Congress's job, so that may give them the ability to sort of make the Fed chairman more secure. So I think they'd run into a lot of trouble. And look, Powell's out of there in 9.5 months. Why, go through an epic fight that will probably roil financial markets and may alienate a lot of your enemies if Powell's done in 9 months, right? Like, just wait it out. And plus, it's fun to pick on him, right? Like, he's a country guy. Let's go.
Okay. All right. So your take right now is that the president probably doesn't have the authority to fire them. But what about the for cause? Does the president have, or is that still a legislative thing? If there's
no, he could make the argument for cause. And I know that they're trying to say that maybe he misled Congress, and so therefore they may have cause to do it. The problem is you could contest that, right? And that ends you back in the legal fight. And so then you have the Supreme Court trying to decide whether or not you've met the for cause test. And who knows? Maybe I don't think anybody can correctly predict that. And like I said, is it really worth it? What do you think? So you get Powell to exit 9 months or 8 months. Really doesn't matter.
Okay, so we got May, which is still enough time before the midterms to lower rates. Okay. Okay. being said, let's move to interest rates. I'm going what will that do?
So I think interest rates probably should be lower because inflation has come down by so much. Now we're running at below 2% for the last 5 months. So like if you annualize the most recent months, we're below the Fed 2%. So what that means to me is that the Fed keeping interest rates where they are is keeping them very restricted. I don't see why we cannot when inflation is so low. However, I will say in the Fed's defense, uh, there's no serious or acute economic slowdown. If unemployment were rising, then I would say absolutely the Fed has to cut. Right now, the Fed probably should cut, but is it absolutely the case that they must cut? And no, it's not. It's a what I would call it's an optional cut right now.
So the interest rates are sorry, the economy is too good in ways. It's humming along fine. So why give it a juice? Why pump it?
It's not dying for it. The one thing I will say is that you really, you might want to start cutting even when times are good, because very often, and Trump calls power too late. That if you wait till you start to see the signs that things are falling apart, it may be too late. And so,
Morning. Sorry, guys. I got the dogs with me. There. They're going to get de-shedded. Don't you? You're going to get de-shedded. It's all the hair floating. The windows are down because the fucking hair is all over the place in here.
and at this point, it's not clear what they could do to juice it up. They seem to not be able to trigger inflation in Japan. Um, the Japanese central bank, like if you think like our central bank did QE, Japanese central bank does like QE times 1,000, much more than we ever did, and they own a huge part of the
That's tight. That's weird.
debt issued by the Japanese government, and they still haven't been able to trigger inflation. I think that they're. What I would caution Donald Trump is like we don't want to be Japan. We want to be a dynamic
Hey, George.
society.
Yeah, it's
It's not that.
wow. So the point. Wow. Growing, thriving, vibrant.
It's their aging, population, the fact that it is in many ways a stagnant economy, and it's also a very traumatic economy. Yeah, there's a reason
It's a whirlwind of hair in this car right now. Glad I didn't take the new car.
they don't have the dynamics that we do.
Very good. Okay, I got 60 seconds. Warn me
Hey, babe.
some numbers that are good because I see the mainstream inflation's out bad. Very bad. So give me something that's good.
Yeah, inflation. So, well, inflation is good. The rate of inflation is very low. We got the PPI report, which is the Producer Price Index.
Actually, that's what I'll do.
So there was no inflation. The consumer price index.
A little cop watch while I'm waiting.
Particularly if you look at like
Maybe go vacuum.
it came in low. The price of cars dropped. We are not in any
Free vacuuming done.
The headlines that you read are fake news.
There, all over.
Very little inflation, and there's no evidence that tariffs have pushed up prices across the board. There, here and there's some furniture went up. That's probably tariffs. But other things went down. Here's great news: hotels, airfare, cheap.
Thank you,
In a long time.
George.
If you want to take your family on a summer vacation, you can get some pretty good deals.
Lifeguard Business Digest. No fake news there.
I don't know why it's taking me this way, south on
Digest. Get the real story.
475.
Every single day. Lifeguard.com.
She's something going on the other way.
Business Digest. John, keep it up. Thank you, sir.
She said 8 to 9:30, though, so I'll be all right.
Today at the Breitbart News, rescissions. The Senate, Senator Ron Johnson joins me, and the House. It's their turn to get it done. Live weekdays at 9 a.m. East on Sirius XM.
80.
I had the worst dream.
It's 75 here.
Car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, huh?
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes.
So much fucking hair in this
$2
car.
million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we go. Visit ethos.com/free.
Oh, top chat.
Ethos.com/free. Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing you to use untested data networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you
Here comes the Cybertruck.
Congress to guard your card.
It's got writing all over it.
When politicians choose, learn more at guardyourcard.com. See website for details. Guardyourcard.com is not a lender. It does not make credit. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? You need some extra cash.
We still want my friend from
This guy trying to get over here?
You got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that'll work for us?
Mom is one of the largest personal loan networks.
Guess what? I went to billshappen.com and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Whoa, baby.
That's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to billshappen.com. That's billshappen.com. Billshappen.com. Untested investors looking for a solid investment with a proven track record? All about the insurance use your RV and campground destination market is the fastest growing sector of real estate today. Demand can't keep up. These resort owners now reliable self-regulators and follow game plans. Find out how you can apply for resort ranking. Resort.com. Resort.com. Call 888-307-1685. That's 888-307-1685. Resort.com. Series X and Patreon presents Breitbart News Daily with your host, Mike Slater. Well, we have some stories to get. We were in the first segment for the CSP. Sam was here. Jason Smith was his next chair. I think JD was there. Other staffers. I said, what do you mean? And Jason says this was their week. We got a few great options. That you're, clever acronyms using. I just think we come big info. Don't you think that's great? It's so simple. And I passed it around to us on a piece of paper. Why do we get to the next step? Explanation. It's not candy, but it's not a thing in this station. It's face. Touche. Touche. Yes. So the Senate voted on the precision. One of the things that's kind of funny with NPR, it's great. And the House has to go around again today. Now, I'm Joe Morris, of course, she's the Hunter Biden laptop story. Media never covered the Hunter Biden laptop story. NPR was asked back in the day, why are you not covering this? And then the managing editor for the news said, we don't waste our time. Excuse me, we don't want to waste our time on stories that are not really stories. And we don't want to waste the listeners' and readers' time on stories that are just pure distractions. That's what they said about the Hunter Biden laptop, which they said was true. They were false, it was fake, made up, not real. It doesn't exist. Remember the whole thing, right? And Joe was right. All the time. So she wrote back to that, she said, about NPR, we don't want to waste our money on news outlets that are not really news outlets. They don't want to waste their time on stories that are not really stories that really are stories. We don't want to waste our money on news outlets that are not really news outlets. So precision passed in the House today. I think it's cut NPR and PBS and just send a commercial or Sesame Street, you have to renegotiate Netflix for some cash next quarter. But at least we're not paying for it anymore. A good win on many, many more wins. On to the next. This with this win, although it almost arguably cratered Mitt Romney's campaign. He brought it up during the debate in 2012. All it was to kill Big Bird. Remember that? We're so far. We're winning so much now. This is like a blip on the radar. On to the next. Slater Radio. Twitter, Instagram, Slater Radio, and Slater, right there talking to you. Right there, some more of my Slater Boy part from you today. Let's go, Lord.
Everything happening in the world today,
This guy on the outside.
shaky supply chains, and unstable power grid. Millions of Americans are taking action now instead of waiting for the next crisis. That's why My Patriot Supply is offering an exclusive deal on a best-selling 3-month emergency food kit. This kit provides over 2,000 calories a day for 3 months. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, and drinks included. It's packaged right here in the USA, packed in sturdy, stackable tubs. It lasts up to 25 years in storage, and it ships fast and free. You can be prepared within days. The exclusive offer ends soon, so head to mypatriotsupply.com/radio. Take advantage while it's still available. Whether it's a long-term crisis or a short-term disruption, food security equals peace of mind. Head over to mypatriotsupply.com/radio. Again, that's mypatriotsupply.com/radio. Grab your 3-month emergency
Stop it.
food
Get
kit
down.
today.
Get off me.
Not a law firm of Chuck McDowell, definitely not. This is Chuck. If someone tells you to find something really silly, you want to get out of that situation. My advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you a timeshare exit kit. Absolutely. Inside will work out timeshare works. Get all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit info kit. 800-420-2255. That's 800-420-2255. Selling your home? Ready.com agents will pay you thousands of dollars just for the chance to sell your home. Because already, agents are paid. The money will not agents are not they sell your home for
Try crawling up in my lap.
Congressional Republicans want to stop communist China from purchasing land in the U.S.
including agricultural crops. Senators Rick Scott of Florida, Tom Cotton of Arkansas, Kevin Cramer of North Dakota, and Katie Britt of Alabama introduced the Not One More Inch or Acre Act, giving Mr. Trump clear authority to prohibit all future land purchases by the Chinese Communist Party and force the investment of already owned property in cases of national security protection. Senator Scott said in a statement, quote, "It's alarming that CCP-linked entities have been quietly buying up U.S. farmland, often strategically located close to our military bases." Bernie Bennett in Washington. The House is facing a Friday deadline if it's going to approve the bill to cancel $9 billion in planned federal spending. Foreign aid money, along with funding for NPR and PBS, bill cleared the Senate in a very close vote early this morning. Americans went shopping last month. Retail sales rebounding 0.6% in June, following a steep decline in May. President Trump facing an uproar over his administration's handling of the Jeffrey Epstein case.
Hoping to move on from the issue, the president is now criticizing his supporters over the Epstein conspiracy theories.
All that big hoax is perpetrated by the Democrats, and some stupid Republicans and foolish Republicans fall into the net.
He clearly views the case as a distraction, but his vice president, FBI director, deputy FBI director, and son Don Jr. have all publicly pushed for the release of the Epstein files, including the sex traffickers' so-called client list. Greg Clugston, Washington.
Pop star Connie Francis has died, a top performer of the pre-Beatles era, regular on the charts, 1957 to 64. Connie Francis was 87 years old. Wall Street Dow futures down 18. More of these stories. Town Hall.
Lapdog law, what's that?
Hey, it's Mike Brown. If I have a choice, I like to do business with companies that actually stand for something. That's why I switched from Verizon to Pure Talk. No offense to Verizon, I'm sure they stand for something. I just don't know what it is. Pure Talk, on the other hand, is a veteran-owned company that supports our military in a big way, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I also appreciate unlimited talk and text and plenty of
This
data
guy.
for half the cost of the big guys. And I do like being on America's most dependable 5G network for just $20 a month. But what I really appreciate is no contract, no cancellation fees, and Pure Talk's commitment to handle all their customer service in this country. I saw it for myself. I went to Georgia, I got a tour of their headquarters, I met their CEO, and I talked to the same customer service folks that you'll talk to when you dial pound 250 and say keyword. Switch today and save 50% on your first month when you dial pound 250 and say keyword like grow, Pure Talk, wireless technology size or something.
Another party that partnered with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says it's quitting the government, leaving him with a minority in the Israeli parliament. Folks party says it's leaving the government with no disagreements. Proposed bill meant to grant wide military exemptions to its constituents, leading a minority government would make governing a challenge for Benjamin Netanyahu, which Shas said it wouldn't work to undermine the coalition once outside it and could vote with it on some laws. It also would support its collapse. Another ultra-Orthodox party quit earlier this week over the same issue. The political turmoil comes as Israel
That's crazy.
and Hamas are negotiating on a U.S.-backed ceasefire proposal for Gaza. I'm Charles Clifford. Officials
So what, they have to be in a kennel or something? In a box?
60 people. News and analysis, Town Hall.
Powered by you. We need to judge things properly, whether it's immigration or economics or culture. We judge with right judgment. Claim that the VA is the perfect representation of healthcare for all. If it's so good, why does the federal government have to make sure that veterans like myself have a way to go outside of the system to get the healthcare that we are not getting through the VA?
This heard here, Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125.
Do you know what I love about the country that we have?
The fuck, dude?
The longest running constitution in the history of nations.
I'm not paying attention. I got off that fucking circle too fast.
To any narratives that might be spun in any media environment, Americans truly appreciate the opportunity to elect new people to office at every level from your.
I don't know why it's taking me this way. There must be something going on the freeway. It should have taken me the opposite way from the main road by my house. There's been a lot of accidents, though. God, I am fucking covered in here. My car is covered, too.
great to be with you, man.
Saturday destination. That's very nice.
Hey, how does it feel to actually have a president?
Saturday with Matt Boyle live Saturdays 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. exclusively on Sirius XM Patriot Channel 125.
Truth is the authority. All right, first thing, bring your A game because I'll take nothing less. We're going to have an open and honest discussion of the facts matter. Let's talk about the people. It's common sense. It's principles and policies that work for everybody. I just want to talk about how to fix this country. Let's go.
Looks like a skunk around here.
Unpacked last night. Some of you were asleep. Some were asleep. But let's unpack the Senate's passage of President Trump's $9 billion rescissions bill. This move to claw back the taxpayer dollars, your and my dollars, from what we as Americans, reasonable Americans and Republicans, have deemed wasteful and woke spending on foreign aid and public broadcasting. Now, this isn't about just budget trimming. It's a revival of a rarely used tool to enforce fiscal discipline. Let's break this down. From the overnight votes to the high stakes next steps. First, early morning this morning, overnight, the Senate Republicans overcame Democrat pushback and, yes, internal dissent from the usual suspects to approve the package on a 51 to 48 vote. No surprise that GOP rhinos Susan Collins of Maine and Lisa Murkowski of Alaska joined the Democrats in support of waste and fraud. The majority held firm without needing, this time, Vice President J.D. Vance's vote to break another tie, unlike earlier procedural votes. So now, officially, H.R. 4, the Rescissions Act of 2025, which targets nearly $8 billion from USAID and over $1 billion from the Corporation for Public Broadcasting that funds NPR and PBS and their biases, is on the chopping block. And Senate Majority Leader John Thune of South Dakota has stated and touted it as long overdue fiscal sanity, crediting DOGE, the President's Department of Government Efficiency, for pinpointing the cuts. Stating, I appreciate all the work the administration has done in identifying wasteful spending. It's a small but important step toward fiscal sanity that we should be able to agree is long overdue.
The one thing I can tell you in the Trump administration is that there has been a renewed commitment to reducing spending. It's actually become in favor to try and find ways to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government. And I think that was part of his mandate coming out of this election. It's something that he and his administration committed to do. We have partnered with him on the One Big Beautiful Bill. We had the biggest spending reduction in history on the mandatory side of the equation. The rescissions bill this week deals with discretionary spending, the other part of the federal budget. And I'm hopeful that we'll have the opportunity to get on that bill and to do something meaningful when it comes to reducing the size and scope of the federal government, particularly in areas of our government where we know there is waste, fraud, and abuse.
Now, the Senate's version is slightly trimmed, about $400 million less than the House's original bill, after they carved out projections for the Bush-era international funding for HIV, AIDS, malaria, and tuberculosis prevention. Now, this compromise ignores warnings from House Speaker Mike Johnson and those in the House who said don't alter the package, echo intentions from recent budget reconciliation fights. But after a grueling vote-a-rama where Democrat amendments failed to reach the 60-vote threshold, Democrats like Senator Maria Cantwell of Washington would try and cut it off alerts that have saved lives over 1,000 times. While Senator Patty Murray warned of endless rescissions ahead. On the GOP side, Senator projects
the transition in Guatemala, voter ID in Haiti, ironically, funded abroad, voter ID, while opposed domestically by Democrats. This chamber can actually see what happened and course correct. $18 million to gender diversity in the Mexican street lighting industry. $2.4 million to make international disaster aid more considerate of sexual orientation and gender identity. $2.2 million to reduce xenophobia towards Venezuelan migrants. $3 million for Iraqi Sesame Street, and $33 million for UN programs like funding for transgender tampons in Bangladesh, LGBTQ campaigns in Rio, and third gender community centers in Southeast Asia. If you're listening to this, if you're watching this, and that's just a short laundry list of the ways in which these bureaucrats have betrayed the trust of the American people. It's historic. First
Jesus.
time in over
Glad I'm not over the line.
Congress is fully approved a presidentially the last successful one, as I mentioned earlier, during the Clinton administration in the late 90s, which was a $1.5 billion rescission bill that was signed into law. Now the bill heads to the House, where it must clear the final hurdles by midnight tomorrow, July 18th, to become law. Otherwise, failure means that the withheld funds revert to their original allocations under the 45-day statutory window. The House passed its version of H.R. 4 back on June 12th after the proposal by President Trump on June 3. So we'll see what happens and next steps for the Speaker to bring the amended bill to the floor today or early tomorrow, possibly under suspension of the rules for expedited passage, requiring a 2/3 majority, though a simple majority does the job. It suffices in this process. And if all goes well and the House votes and concurs in the yay and the positive, it goes to President Trump for signature. There are disagreements. There could be quick conference.
Yeah, it was moving pretty good.
Time is tight.
Oh, don't shake it here, dude. Wait. All right, I'll be right back.
Just the beginning.
No. Get back.
As was warned earlier by the Democrats,
No.
more expected from the White House.
One time, boys.
Turn now to Elizabeth Elkin, the political reporter at Fox News Digital, covering the House of Representatives, and that, Liz, is where the action goes next.
Yeah, hey, thanks for having me on, David.
So let's walk through it. You're there. What the heck? Is there even a mood check at 9:13 in the morning?
So, luckily for you, because I don't sleep, I have done a mood check this morning already. We are not seeing many issues, honestly, on this bill from the conservative fiscal hawks, who you would think might normally be angry about, any sort of changes to the House Presidential bill. But we got to remember the changes are relatively minimal. We are talking about big bucks, obviously, but from 9 billion to 9.4 billion to 9 billion, and with that change, the removal of blocking funding for AIDS research in Africa, that was approved by the White House as well. So the House GOP leaders have a lot of cover bringing that back to the floor. I've spoken to at least 3 fiscal hawks this morning, Ralph Norman, Tim Burchett, and Chip Roy. Each indicated they were leaning for this package. And I want to update you, we are learning just this morning, right before I got on with you, that this vote should be expected in the 7 p.m. hour tonight. So it looks like House GOP leaders are not going to put this up under suspension. We are expecting a Rules Committee meeting sometime today for this bill. So if everything goes well, they could beat their deadline by a day, like Mike Johnson has been doing with critical bills so far.
That's actually an idea they should keep working on, not wait until the midnight deadline, because I think the American people have had it with that. Are there any newly stated objections beyond what you've already said from the, quote, fiscal hawks?
Well, nothing that's been a real, public objection to the bill. No one who said that they're prepared to vote against it. But
day is young. We heard from Municipal Hawks earlier this week who all indicated, while they're not happy that this is getting cut back from 9.4 to 9, they did really, really push for that full 9.4 billion. To them, most of the spending cuts are better than no spending cuts at all. They also really do recognize this Friday deadline. So, knock on wood, things could always change, but it seems like anyone who's a little bit unhappy is ready to hold their nose and just vote for this.
Yeah. Well, I remember a couple of weeks ago speaking with Derek Van Orden. He said he was going to, I think he was really joking, but maybe you want to ask him about this. He talked to me about putting up a bill to have acting classes for members of Congress and the performative politics. I think that could actually pass. I don't know. Is that just a little hat tip for you? I don't know.
Yeah, we got a lot of former theater kids in Congress, so you never know.
Oh, man. What else is going on down there in the House? We broadened it out a little bit. You've given us the update, and thank you, as always, for that as we watch the House today. But what else is going on? I suspect on the Senate side, there's some tight senators that are taking a nap.
God, my fucking car is trashed with hair.
Definitely.
Oh.
But on the House side, they're
All right.
planning on getting
Let's do this.
this morning to start debating.
I don't see the point in driving all the way home and then coming back.
We've got a few cryptocurrency regulation bills that are going to be on the House floor.
Fucking.
Conservatives.
I know. I'm going to go find a vacuum. That's for sure.
Some privacy concerns.
I'm sure they're not going to be nearly as bad
one of those bills might not be
later.
taken up by the Senate to block the federal government from essentially making its own
all right. Let's see here.
But House GOP leaders struck an agreement on that, and they're going to
Let's see what the wife wants to do.
The yearly defense bill that we've got, the NDAA.
Okay. Phone is covered in hair too.
Former Biden aide coming in to testify behind closed doors in
she even here?
House Oversight Committee Chairman James Comer's cover-up probe into whether AutoPen was used without the former president's knowledge or consent. Annie Tomasini, former Deputy Chief of Staff, longtime Biden aide, is coming in under subpoena, but it's not clear how much she could give investigators, considering the last two people who came in under subpoena pled the Fifth Amendment. So we'll be watching both of those for sure this week to see how both play out.
And Bernal, for his part, also pulling the Dr. O'Connor the Fifth. By the way, I know you don't sleep because this was 16, 17 hours ago, not even 24 hours ago, when you scooped on the idea that they may, as James Comer said, subpoena Jill Biden, to keep going through this probe.
Yeah, I mean, the Oversight Committee investigators really are careful not to use subpoenas as their first kind of opening, shot at these folks. They think the best way to really get information from people is to ask them to come in for voluntary interviews, which, to their credit, we have seen two former Biden aides, Neera Tanden and Ashley Williams, come in voluntarily, and they did speak to investigators for a bit longer time than those folks who pled the Fifth. So we're going to be looking at how that's going to play out on Friday, and we'll see. We've got a lot more people coming in for the Oversight Committee. Probably not Joe and Jill Biden. Byron,
so let me
throw that out there.
do two things. I'm going to change the title. I'm going to add scanning,
as I said, the committee isn't
vacuuming,
subpoena anybody, and
then we'll just listen to the local stuff,
working
I guess.
his way up the chain of command. So,
let me call the wife
as I said yesterday, he's not ruling anything out with regards to the former first couple, but I think we've got a wait and quite a
spitting hairs out and shit. I think I got hair in my fucking tea. Oh yeah, this big old clump.
That's what the shoe
What are you watching? Murder?
yeah.
About
About to finish eating and take a nap. Fucking tired.
All right. Yeah, you did have to get up early. All right, baby. Love you. If you need anything, just give me a shout.
Okay.
Bye.
There's only one
All right, let's find a fucking car wash that has vacuums.
Senator Ron Johnson. We got a lot to cover. Liz, thank you very much. Hope you get some much needed downtime when they're done.
Drive to car wash.
All right, Jackman Lasky Car Wash.
Fox
All right,
News Digital.
so we'll go first, and then we'll go from there.
Let's pause. I'll be right back. 866-95-PATRIOT 957-2874. Hey, summer's here. Right? What weather I did this morning. But while you're enjoying the fun in the sun, and you should, don't forget about your gutters. They might be quietly filling with debris. And this summer, you can enjoy the sunshine and the peace of mind by ensuring your gutters stay clean and avoid costly damage with a leaf filter. It's backed by a lifetime warranty. You can protect your home with Leaf Filter. They're America's #1 gutter protection company, so you never have to clean out your gutters again. And right now, you can get a free inspection, free estimate, and save up to 30% off your entire purchase when you go to leaffilter.com/patriot. Leaf Filter uses award-winning patented technology to keep out everything but water, no holes, gaps, or large openings for debris to get through. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will clean out, realign, and seal your gutters before installing Leaf Filter. Every installation comes with a lifetime no-clogs guarantee. Protect your home.
All right, quieter in here now.
Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system. The will count majority. Coming up right after the David Webb Show, RNC Chairman Michael Watley joins me
car
in the
wash.
studio. Oh, we have so much to talk about. That's
I just need to do the vacuums.
The will count majority coming up next at noon East after the David Webb Show on Sirius. It's an interesting time for business. If your business can't adapt in real time, you're in a world of hurt. You need total visibility from global shipments to tariff impacts to real-time cash flow. That's NetSuite by Oracle. Your AI-powered business management suite.
Backing into the fucking 4-lane free highway here.
NetSuite is the #1 cloud ERP for many reasons. It brings accounting, financial
he must have pulled it in the wrong area.
HR into one suite. With real-time forecasting, you're peering into the future with actionable data. And with AI embedded throughout, you can automate a lot of those everyday tasks, letting your teams stay strategic. NetSuite helps you know what's stuck, what it's costing you, and how to pivot fast. Tame the chaos with NetSuite. If your revenues are at least in the 7 figures, download.
What is this guy doing?
Navigating global trade. 3
trying to turn that way?
NetSuite.com/web. That's NetSuite.com/web.
It's summertime, and it's definitely getting hot.
All right, George. I'll talk to you later, bud. Thanks for hanging out.
Well, there's a way to fix it. Boston Medical Group has delivered a simple and effective solution for ED, proven to work when all else has failed. It's ICP, also known as ED shots. ICP uses a custom blend of FDA-approved medications specifically formulated to restore healthy blood flow where you need it most. In fact, ICP works for 98% of men in just a few minutes, regardless of age or medical conditions. Our telemedicine platform now brings this virtually 100% effective solution right to your doorstep. And there's free formula upgrades for those who need more potent results. As summer special, new patients receive 10 free extra doses of ICP medication when signing up for the standard program. Call 800-891-9400. That's 800-891-9400 or visit bostonmedicalgroup.com. Freight is moving at Creek Carrier and Schaefer Trucking. We are growing and our customers keep growing with us. If you want to be part of a company that appreciates what you do and rewards you for it, you should check out Creek Carrier Corporation. We're looking for safe drivers that have at least 1 year's experience and take their job seriously. Then we reward you with great pay and some real serious benefits. Freight's moving, so check out Freed and Schaefer today. Go to creekcarrier.com and find the right job for you. Seasonal speech. SiriusXM Patriot. Conservative principles live here. This is the authority. This is the motion. It's an idea. Okay, it's just a flat lie. But the idea that, in this case, the two senators, Maria Cantwell of Washington State, Patty Murray, uh, that they're floating. Cantwell, alerts that have saved lives over 1,000 times. Because nobody in America, terrestrial radio, cell carriers, nobody broadcasts emergency alerts. No, I can't think about that. I just really. And Patty Murray, what's she worried about? Endless rescissions ahead. Endless. I want one a week. I'll be nice and say if you do them big enough and clear enough and clean enough, okay, I'm going to give you one a month. There's other business to be taken care of, and you guys need to spend more time being expeditious in the House and Senate and less time arguing with each other, Chip Roy and others. I even went back to the for roughly $400 million PEPFAR funding. Hard to drag out the details of success to a degree, to what degree. But let's be fair about the malaria nets were incredibly successful in Africa during the W. Bush administration in reducing the spread of malaria. Number of other things. Yeah, they mixed in a bunch of other stuff, HIV, AIDS. But that's not the fight you pick right now. There's a bigger, better, and if you don't want to consider it bigger, a better win by getting the first rescissions package under your belt. It's just fact. One and done and more to come. Not a hard concept. But, again, the two rhinos, Murkowski and Collins, Mitch McConnell, he voted against it procedurally, then he voted for it, so he's against it. Don't kid yourself. At the same time, Republicans and the administration already looking for 2026 replacement. I think it's a good idea. 2026 replacement for Collins. That's being reported by Newsmax. I cover all things. Newsmax. But enough. But the world won't end. The Corporation for Public Broadcasting, to be fair, has decent programming. So do what every other terrestrial radio network or radio, what has it, sell ads, run your programming, build better programs, grow a market, or fail. Paula Kerger, for her part, the president and CEO of PBS since 2006, can't quite understand. She really can't. She can't make any sense of all the arguments, the idea, the facts that they're somehow biased in any way. Cut 6.
I ask them for examples. People often struggle to come up with examples of what really they're talking about. So I We're always interested, obviously, in making sure that we're serving a multiplicity of viewpoints. Bill Buckley made his home in public broadcasting with a series called Firing Line, which continues today with Margaret Hoover. We are interested in having different perspectives that we bring forward. But when I look at the range of our programming on public broadcasting, I can't make any sense of an argument that we are somehow biased in any way.
Really? She did that one with a straight face. She really did. I'm not gonna. Example. We can continue to break this all down, but there are plenty of examples out there. What you have to do is search. What you have to do is be honest and not biased. And it has been clear in their programming. Their use of terminology by controlling it. They use, for example, 162 far-right variations of the labeling, but only 6 on the left. They promote radical gender ideology 90% of the time on PBS NewsHour. What's a real boy? Okay, nothing to see there. Want me to keep going? Maybe I can help her. Catherine Barr. Yeah. Hey, longtime Democrat activist, masquerading at NPR. Someone who wants to run the National Democratic Institute. All the other left-wing groups out there. She was a bit more concise.
As far as the accusations that were biased, you can stand up and say, please tell me a story that concerns you, because we want to know and we want to bring that conversation back to our newsroom.
Do you really want to know, Catherine? I mean, really?
I don't know.
Let's see.
We've been together, like I said, for 8 years.
Biden's presidential debate performance didn't change the election. That's where it dropped out.
Don't even know I exist.
I will never understand this one. Senator Kennedy put this one up. NPR reported that country music and birds are racist. Yeah. Birds. They, I don't know, promoted the Russiagate conspiracy. Said that the Hunter Biden laptop was, disinformation. That plural Americans are, well, Christian nationalists. And can anybody forget how much they stood up for the first female rear admiral of HHS, Richard Levine? Yeah, you followed me on that one, right? Just checking. Chuck Schumer, old Chucky, who has his own issues with having to figure out what to do with the socialist who was elected, used to be the communist, in Zoran Mamdani. Well, he had this to say. Let's give him a little bit of truth.
As if picking 17 million people of health care to give billionaires the largest tax break in history wasn't enough, Republicans are at it again this week. Republicans are leading the charge to implement President Trump's devastating and wildly unpopular cuts that impact millions of Americans. This time targeting local news throughout the country, including in rural areas that lack broadband and other options. To be clear, gutting bipartisan investments and hurting America's standing throughout the world is not popular. Losing access to local news, radio, and
I think it stopped right there because I got it. Edwin, this is a brilliant. I got it. Who was supposed to actually build out the broadband network nationwide? It started with President Obama. It
continued under Biden. They didn't do a damn thing. Just like their supercharger network that never showed up for billions of dollars. But now they're trying to tell you that Trump's gutting the broadband they never built. Thank you. Thank you. How does Trump gut? How do Republicans gut the broadband that the Democrats never built from the Obama-Biden administration to the Biden-Harris administration? I think Chucky, he is a horror.
Particularly in rural areas, Americans rely on public broadcasting for weather alerts. And these trucks put it through the worst time right now after we're seeing a devastating tragedy in Texas that arrested even more persons that were at the coast to West Coast and to be at the epicenter of harm. That's why today I call for a full-scale independent investigation into what the truth and
As the monster of a city. So if PBS doesn't get public funding, KERA TV and FM will die. People will die. Rivers will flood. Frogs will fall from the sky. Pigs will fly. Democrats blame their fantasies. Interesting. Marge, Schumer. 866-958-2957. So, big AI summit, innovation, looking forward. And I know it's been in the news. There are some details that matter. And I want to make sure that you have it. This all took place 2 days ago, convened by Senator David McCormick, Pennsylvania. All right. Position in Pennsylvania, second largest producer of energy in the nation, as a leader in AI combined with energy production, technological innovation, and bringing together an actual bipartisan of government. Even the governor, the guy that was too Jewish for Kamala Harris and the Democrats, because of that anti-Semitic, hate Israel Democrat Party leadership, was there. Yeah, Pennsylvania governor showed up. He participated in the discussion of state-level opportunities. President Trump led the way. Senator McCormick hosted the summit, and even the Carnegie
you name it, robotics firms like Gecko, so many people that real discussion, real plan, and in the end, a significant investment, private sector investment. And look at it this way, you know, a lot of, well, they're just a much smarter. You, my audience, this is not just AI and energy, it's vertical integration and a plan and a placement of corporations such as data centers and energy development communities growing. And think about what this means for decades. In Pennsylvania, where Joe Biden said, I mean, you can learn how to get out of the coal mines, learn the code. Remember that? By the way, that didn't happen either, much like the broadband. Partnerships took time to build that are announced, take more time to complete. But building out AI and energy infrastructure, American dominance on the development of this new technology, which it varied in the last few years, has taken leaps and bounds exponentially. The largest investment package ever, ever in Pennsylvania history, more than $90 billion. Give or take 92 billion. I heard one figure of 102 billion. The net effect of this, that is the state budget. This is make Pennsylvania, Pennsylvanians, Americans who live in Pennsylvania, solid, even more so than they can.
Let me turn the camera around.
15 billion First Energy, 15 billion for a growing company, 6 billion Energy Capital Partners, 5 billion, 2 billion Brookfield, along with Google and their partnership. It's a 20-year deal to repower hydropower facilities to the tune of 670 megawatts. That's 300 jobs, 3 billion megawatts. That's the successful business means Frontier which will transform former coal plants to natural gas. 10.2 billion, 15,000 construction jobs, 300 permanent jobs. DPL Corporation, great expansion and modernization through 2028. 6.8 billion, 3,400 new jobs, plus a joint venture with Blackstone. I started pulling apart these data numbers here that were being put out, but we're talking about significant development. Homer City redevelopment, 15 billion in, purchased PA natural gas for 4 gigawatts of power generation. That's 1,000 on-site jobs projected and 10,000 construction jobs. Okay, let's say it's 8,000 jobs. I don't see someone live somewhere, buy things from somewhere, get deliveries, open regional logistics companies like Old Idle on the grander scale. These truckers think out there. Imagine this problem spreading across the nation. Maximizing their natural resources. Can you imagine if Western New York State decided to, I don't know, join them? Except for their pseudo-communist governor, Kathy Hochul, and that crook piece of shit.
Oh no! He's gonna hate that. Yeah, he's gonna regret that.
I see this growing and improving foundation built into the country based on partisan need. And that the Democrats have this, although they elect the socialists to but this literally builds into our foundations that won't be bricked out easily by the next bunch of crooks in case the Democrats get deep. Sounds good to me. Yeah, elections will play out. But Brookfield, Google, and Amazon, and all these other companies I just ran through a plethora of names, energy capital partners, they're not making plans and saying, no, we're comfortable with this. They're making long-term plans. This is what's going on in America. First, look at the state. So it's spread more. Some of these people will be able to stop it for doing illegal stuff. John Duffy, who's $4 billion California trade. Give me a couple hours. I'll get back. You can idea. You can show me. Sean, beautiful bill supporter, you turning in $4 billion in unspent federal money by the Federal Railroad Administration after 60 years of billions of dollars under government debt. And here's how I will be in a business owners out there. Every second of your time is incredibly valuable. I know that you know that. So don't waste your energy and risk losing money dealing with time-sucking payroll issues, office politics, and HR infractions. Focus on what matters most, running your business with help from Bambi. Bambi gives you access to a very own dedicated HR manager at a fraction of what it costs to employ someone full-time. Bambi costs just $29 a month, whether you have 10, 75, or even 100 employees. And you can forget about onboarding new employees and terminating those horrible underperforming ones. With Bambi, your dedicated HR team will handle all of that for you. And as a business owner, you don't have all time. Neither does Bambi.
Your dedicated HR manager is always available by phone, text, or online. There are no downtimes, excuses, or BS. Just dedicated HR support when you need it. Right now, get 1 month of Bambi for just $1. Go to Bambi.com. Type web under radio to schedule your first call with an HR manager. That's 1 month of Bambi for just $1 at Bambi.com. Web radio.
Netflix is a joke radio brings you exclusive comedy specials and stand-up from Netflix's massive library for the world's biggest series.
He's Mick Jagger. I pitched him a joke and he went, "Not funny."
We give you unparalleled access to Netflix's top premieres and join
All
Tom
right.
Parker and Fortune Feimster every day for interviews with the biggest names in
Much
comedy.
better.
Netflix is a joke radio, channel 93. Search comedy on
Now, if you left it in his reach.
Honey, I had the worst dream last night. We were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, huh?
You know, my brother was saying he got life insurance from Ethos.
I know it's been on our list. Isn't getting life insurance a huge pain? It's so much paperwork, and you have to go see the doctor. I wouldn't even know where to start.
With Ethos, Dave said it only took 10 minutes, and he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. Plus, it's all online, no medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right
Go
from
get
his
some
house.
breakfast
He was
now.
able to choose an amount that worked for his needs, and Ethos made the whole thing so easy and clear.
10 minutes with no medical exam? Ethos, here we come.
Here's to sleeping better at night.
Help protect your loved ones today with Ethos. Life insurance made easy. Visit ethos.com/free to apply today. That's ethos.com/free.
It's still dirty in here. It needs to be detailed badly.
It's time to take your skills to a company that invests in your safety and
100% better.
Schneider's newer and well-maintained equipment keeps drivers moving and making money. Our trucks are spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Plus, we offer a huge selection of driving jobs so you can find a job with the home time and schedule you've been looking for. Upgrade to a better driving job today. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com. See website for details. BillsHappen.com is not a lender. It does not make credit decisions. Must be 18 years old. Not available in all states.
Honey, everything is so expensive, and our bills are piling up.
You're telling me credit cards are maxed out, rent is due, and the car payment's right around the corner? You need some extra cash.
You should know what my friend from work did. She went to billshappen.com and got the money she needed the next day.
Our credit is not great. Are you sure that would work for us?
Billshappen.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with all credit types get up to $5,000.
Sounds like it's going to be a hassle.
My friend said it was super easy. She did it right from her phone during her lunch break.
If you have a regular source of income, you can be approved for a loan for up to $5,000, and your cash can hit your bank account the next day. BillsHappen.com's lenders have millions of dollars to lend, regardless of your credit history.
Guess what? I went to BillsHappen.com, and we're getting our money tomorrow.
Wow, that's fast. Problem solved.
If you need extra cash, go to BillsHappen.com. That's BillsHappen.com. BillsHappen.com.
After the news breaks, we analyze
Hey, Toe.
you.
Just dropped my doggies off to get de-shedded. And then I had to vacuum out the car because it's horrible. I'm up near Lasky and Lasky. By 5 points. Douglas and Lasky. I was trying to find something close. Go grab a bite to eat. Well, just take care of those big boys. Well, this Red Star Diner looks good. It's steak and eggs. Casley's. It's always good. Mama's Kitchen. I'm going to go there.
that size, warehousing, logistics, trucking, 250,000 trucks. I was amazed at that number. Maybe not amazed, but blown away. That's how many they have just in the lower 48 alone. But there's any independent owner operators. Look, opportunities there. We're not going to solve all the issues that are out there for everyone, but this is going to grow. If somebody's adding 10,000 jobs,
all right, I'm gonna kill this once we get there.
So many different levels of product.
Casley's.
There's so
Casley's.
much there. Thanks for the call, Darren. We're gonna wrap.
Drive to Casley's Diner.
Sure. Casey's Toledo. Let's go.
Casley's. It's Casley's.
Little victory lap.
Drive to Casley's Diner.
Sure. Casey's Toledo. Let's go.
I'm Chuck McDowell, and no, this isn't a timeshare cancellation ad. I'm here to help you break free from your overpriced mobile carrier with Red Pocket Mobile. Did you know the average American wireless bill is $140 a month? At Red Pocket, plans start at just $10
Casley's Kitchen
for unlimited talk, text,
hey, Dirty.
data with absolutely no games and no price increases ever. But it gets even better. Red Pocket gives you your choice of all three major mobile networks for the very best 5G coverage anywhere you are. And you get to keep your phone and number. At Red Pocket Mobile, you don't have to settle. I don't see how anyone could say no to getting one low, locked-in price and three 5G networks. Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
There's Mama's Kitchen there.
Locked-in low price, three 5G networks.
Casley's is definitely good. Is that cash only, though?
That's redpocket.com, redpocket.com.
Home title theft. It's on the rise, and it's devastating if it happens to you. Listen to the alarming words of an actual...
I found it.
I don't need to know
KAS.
social security number. All I have to do is go to public records,
Casley's.
file that document, and then I can borrow against
I'm almost there.
You may have no clue until you find out that your house has been sold or till several loans or several banks are foreclosing on you.
For pennies a day, Home Title Lock puts a virtual
half a mile away.
protection around your home's title.
What's up this morning? I just dropped off the 2 German Shepherds. Back up the stream, take a look. That was fun. It was like a fucking snowstorm in here with all the hair.
Find out if you're already a victim with your free title scan and complete.
Oh wow, they resurfaced Tremainsville. It's nice.
Just go to HomeTitleLock.com and sign up.
It used to be pretty rough here.
HomeTitleLock.com. HomeTitleLock.com. National defense, legal immigration. Series of Patriot Channel 125. Conservative principles live here. News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Rich Thomas. The Senate has approved President Trump's request to cancel roughly $9 billion.
See, KASLLY apostrophe S. Damn. This place is always packed too. I used to come here quite often when I lived closer to here. All right, guys, I will go live again. I'll probably do some scanning around town until they have me go pick up the puppers. All right, thanks for hopping in just now. I appreciate it. Drop a like before you leave, please. If you have time, play some of my videos in the background. Oh, George Strait's not bad. All right, guys. Laters.